Hello friends, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am celebrating Christmas in July. It is the 25th after all. So I decided to feature the fabulous One Horse Open Sleigh Suite from the Stampin' Up! Online exclusive offering. Now, online exclusives don't mean that you can only order them online. It means that you can only view them online. Simply that they will not be in any catalog. So we have a whole collection of online exclusive products that can only be viewed in my online store. Now, if you are part of a workshop or you are a demonstrator or you just want me to place your order for you, you certainly can email me or message me and I can place orders for you for those online exclusive items. But the easiest way to order them is through my online store. Now, we are all about, as I said, One Horse Open Sleigh, Christmas in July today. It is so stinking hot outside here. It is humid and gross. I've spent the entire day down here in my craft room and in my classroom space working on setting up and getting ready for my in-person Christmas in July event this Saturday. So we are all about the festive season this week, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing some festive baking, yes, in this heat. I think I may wait until the evening when it's not quite so hot, and get ready for, as I said, my in-person Christmas in July event that's coming up this weekend. But today, I have 3 adorable holiday-themed wintry projects that are sure to cool you off, at least mentally, maybe not physically if you are here in Southern Ontario, using the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite. So I'm going to stop talking. We are going to get to some stamping. I'm going to show you the products, and we are going to make 2 fairly simple fun folds, and then just 1 really cute card. All right, so you ready? Let's actually, hang on. Before I do that, let me just pull up my video here. I got my iPad working again. It needed some serious updating, but we got it going. So it has been resurrected. I thought it was done. So no Apple Store visit for me just yet. All right. I see we've got Tracy and Sue. Hi, Jean. Hi, Louise. Hi, Linda and Laura. All right. Let's get to it. I'm going to flip my camera and we are going to get to some stamping. So here we go. Let's get that straight. Looks pretty good. We'll just slide over a little and make sure we are centered so you can see all of these beautiful products. All right. Yeah, Louise, heat but not humidity. I 100% agree. I'm kind of looking forward. I know it's very, very hot in the southwestern U.S. right now, but I'm actually very much looking forward to going to Vegas and experiencing dry heat rather than this gross humidity that we've been having. All right. Hi, Gail from Halton Hills. Hi, Linda. All right. So here we go. Horse and Sleigh bundle is sort of the centerpiece of the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite. So we have the stamp set. Now these images are only at 80%. They're quite a bit smaller on the case than the actual stamp. So if I open the stamp case, you'll see we have very, very large stamped images. As you can see from the dies, okay? So this is the horse and sleigh die. It's a card width. You're going to see that in action in just a few minutes. So we have open dies that cut out stamped images. We've got some snowdrifts. We've got a really cute tree. This is actually trimmed to go on the sleigh. You'll see that later on as well. And then if you wanted to die cut some contrasting, maybe metallic runners for your sleigh, you can use that die. Again, you'll see those in action in a little bit. So what I like about this is it's not just for Christmas. So sending warmth your way could be for any occasion really in the winter. And then you could also, if you are like me some years and don't get your Christmas cards out on time, it's kind of happy. You could say sending warmth your way and a happy new year, or wishing you a season of cheer and a happy new year. And you don't have to even mention Christmas in case you're a little late getting them in the mail. So I like having that option because some years you just can't quite get it all done, right? All right, so then we have these cute embellishments. These are the adhesive back snowflake assortment. They're actually 2 sheets. I'm going to open this one up. I have well, I'll show you what I have left of my package. There's not much left. So we have a whole sheet of large, and then a smaller sheet that has medium and small. And they come in this sort of metallic copper, the gold, and the white. Okay, so you get a total of 90. So there's 30 of each size, and I guess 10 of each color, right? So that is the adhesive back snowflake assortment. They are awesome. As you can see, I've used already almost a whole pack. And then my favorite part of this suite is the gorgeous designer series paper. Now, it was on not orderable status. I'm not sure if it's come back in stock yet. It is due in by the end of the month. If you have an emergency and you need some, reach out to me, because I may have ordered a few extra packs. And if you're stuck. So here we go. We have beautiful hand-painted winter scenery. Like, honestly, all of the scenes in this paper are just gorgeous. So look at all of these beautiful wintry scenes. I love this, the winter sunset. This pattern amazes me. It seriously looks like the windows and the lights are glowing. I don't know how they do that. But it seriously looks like it's illuminated. It's amazing. And then this looking down at the tracks in the snow. This one, I love this sort of tundra kind of landscape. Who doesn't love a baby deer in the woods? Lovely hillside, mountains, fox in the snow. And then cozy cabin scene. So these patterns are beautiful, these scenic patterns. But then, of course, on the back, we have some fantastic, just more generic patterns. Awesome for Christmas projects or for anything, really. This wood grain and this crumb cake pattern are fantastic. We've got a stripe in the misty moonlight. And then I love this sort of birch pattern. Some more stripes. So just really fantastic paper that whether you want the wintry scenes or you just want some more generic sort of patterns for your any season projects, this is a great paper pack. All right, so that is the suite. Okay, it's back. Oh, Louise, you should have called me. Well, if you need them, comment, let me know. I have some, so just reach out. We are not far apart. All right. Okay. We are going to get to it. So the first card we're going to do is this one. So this is just a straight up, regular card, no fun folds. But I wanted to really highlight the beautiful horse and sleigh, stamp and die cut, and then how you can use those trim dies to sort of step up your sleigh, I should say. All right, so let's start with our background. Pull out just that. Well, I guess I'm going to get all of it. Okay, so this is a piece of that beautiful paper. So it's that tundra scene, but on the back we have this sort of birch or aspen bark pattern. And we are going to stamp using, let me just bring in the stamp set here. We're using this sort of, I don't know, it looks like a bush maybe image. So we're going to stamp using that image several times in gray granite ink. So we're going to do some full strength, some stamped off. We're just going to kind of create some brush in the background. The other thing I'm going to do is make sure that some of my images are higher and some are lower, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. We don't want them to look like they're marching in a line across our page. So I'm doing some stamped off now. Just do a couple more here. There we go. Okay, really simple, quick way to do a background. And stamping on designer paper is always a really great foundation because you don't have to add as much interest. The texture is already there. All right, so now we are going to work on finishing coloring our horse and sleigh. Now I've already done a lot of it because I wanted you to be able to see all of my projects and not be here until 8 o'clock tonight. So we're going to start by finishing up the horse. So for the body of the horse, I used a dark and light gray granite. I want to make sure I've got those right markers here. Yes, I do. So I kind of worked in sections. I kind of did the back half and then sort of the front part. So I'm going to start again by laying down a layer of the light gray granite. This is getting a wee bit on the dry side. It's time for a new one. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my dark, and I'm just going to kind of follow the shading that's already in the stamped image, and then I'm also going to kind of come up along the mane there. And we're going to blend that out. Yep, this gray granite is pretty much done. Well, the light one is anyway, the dark one's okay. There we go. Okay, easy peasy. For the mane, I'm going to come in with my light Pebbled Path. I've mentioned several times how perfectly the light or the Pebbled Path and gray granite works together. So I'm using my light Pebbled Path, and then I'm going to come in with my dark, make sure this is dark, yes, dark gray granite, to kind of blend those out. And they just work so perfectly together. A little bit of the forelock there. Okay, and then I'm going to come in again with the Pebbled Path and just add a little extra texture to the hooves here. And there we go. Okay, now for the bridle, and did I use my dark or light? I think I used dark. So I'm going to color the headpiece. Oh, it might have been. Is this? I'm using Pretty Peacock. Wrong color. I used Lost Lagoon. So we're just going to blend that out a little bit. And hit the bridle as well. There we go. All right, now for the sleigh, I am using dark and light Lost Lagoon. Okay. This is dark, so we're going to put that one down and grab our light. Hi, Karen. Okay, well, you have intense heat too. We certainly do too here. It is crazy hot and very, very humid today. Actually, all week it's supposed to just keep getting hotter. Good time to be inside in the air conditioning and crafting. I'm glad you were able to join us. I'm sorry your plans couldn't happen in the heat. Hopefully they'll be able to be rescheduled when it cools off a little bit. So I'm laying down a layer of the light Lost Lagoon to start. Again, I'm not being super careful here because it's just sort of my foundational layer. Then I'm going to come in with the dark Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to add shadow. Now I'm going to use a fair bit of this to add shadow to the sleigh. I'm going to do all around the front here, along the bottom, and then I'm going to come back with my light and pull that dark out from where I laid it down and really blend it. And then we'll just swing it around and get this top piece again. There we go. Okay, there's our sleigh. Now I'll just mention, I should maybe do the horse's muzzle. So I used SU 800 for the horse's muzzle and for the faces and hand of the people in the sleigh. And then I should also mention the coat on the driver of the sleigh is colored in light Pretty Peacock. And then the passenger's coat is in light copper clay. Okay, I just really like that color combo. All right, so now we are going to build our scene here. So let me just grab, oh, we have to decorate our sleigh. Forgot to add our little metallic accents. So I have a die cut. This is cut from the silver metallic specialty paper. And this again is an online exclusive. It was in the catalog last year. It has moved to an online exclusive. A lot of people thought that it retired. It did not. You can still get it in the online store. So I've die cut my piece from some of that fabulous metallic. This is sort of a matte looking metallic. And we're just going to layer that over top of the runner on the stamped image. Okay, so it just goes on like that. And then we have this trim piece. Looks kind of like a stylized S. That is going to go along the top edge of the stamped image. So again, we'll get rid of our backings. I use adhesive sheets with these. I really hate fussing with liquid glue on little bitty die cuts. And I think I may have this upside down. So we're just gonna try this the other way. There we go, much better. Okay, if it doesn't look like it's lining up, chances are you've got it upside down. It really only goes one way. Okay, so there we go. Then I'm going to pull in my snowdrifts as soon as I find them. Where'd they go? There they are. And we are going to build our snowdrifts across in behind our horse. So I've got 4 of them. There's 2 different sizes, so I've die cut them a few times here. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay these down with a bit of liquid glue. And I do like, again, to use my grid paper to help me get this straight, because there's nothing worse than a horizon line that's crooked. Looks a little odd. So there's one. We'll add a little bit here. Kind of coming across. And again, let's just make sure that's straight. There we go. And then we're going to add a little bit more here. These are going to kind of extend off the end. And then we're going to trim it and use those trim bits. So we're not going to waste anything here. So there's that. And then that one is going to go, I don't know, let's put it right about there, I think. A little bit of glue. And we'll pop this one on right about there. Okay, then we're going to take our snips and we're going to trim these little bits off, and we are going to use them as well. Let's trim those off. And let's add this little guy. I don't know, will we tuck him in behind? Maybe we'll just tuck that on there on the edge. So we'll just grab that little bit and we'll pop that on right about there. Make sure that one stays straight. These guys I think may be too small. We won't use those little guys there. All right, so now we are ready to go ahead and add our horse and sleigh. Okay, so by adding the snowdrifts, it really gives some perspective and allows something for the horse to be pulling the sleigh through. Awfully hard to pull a sleigh on dry ground. So we will add a few dimensionals to the back of our focal image here. And then I'm going to also add a couple right along on the horse's hooves down at the bottom, just to make sure that that stays anchored. All right, so let's get rid of our backings. Got a little scrap bit here stuck. Come here. There we go. Get rid of these little guys. The paper is beautiful, Joyce. Yes, you're actually going to get a half pack on Saturday as part of your swag bag. Okay, so there we go. There is our little scene. Now we are going to add our sentiment and a little bit of ribbon. Oh, I almost forgot. I can still sneak them in. I did die cut a couple of the trees out of vellum, and I put adhesive sheets on the back. They look like they're white, but they're not. So the secret to adhering die cut vellum pieces is to use adhesive sheets, because they do not show through. So we're going to add those just for a little bit of extra texture on our background. Almost forgot. Thankfully, we can sneak them in. Now, can I get the backing off this? Yes, I can. There we go. I'll tuck this one in back here. There we go. Okay, so there is our little scene. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. So I have a die cut label from the Nested Essentials dies, and we are going to stamp "Sending You Warmth Your Way" in gray granites. So let's center that on there and hopefully get it relatively straight. There we go. All right, so I have just a little scrap of the Pebbled Path in color ribbon. And I didn't want to put a bow on this because I felt like it was going to be too much on the card, but I wanted to add a little bit of texture with the ribbon. So we're going to notch one end with our scissors. And this is just going to kind of extend behind our label, just like that. So I need to make sure I get enough length here that we're going to see it. And then I'm going to just kind of, again, use my grid paper to get this straight. I'm going to pull this back. And I'm going to run my seal where I want my ribbon to go. And again, I have a little scrap of a dimensional backing on there. Come here, you. It's stuck to my finger now. All right, so we're going to stick this on. Hopefully straight. Come on. Gotta love it when stuff will not let go. And then that is going to get popped up. But first we're going to trim off the excess ribbon. And add a glue dot. And then wrap it around the back. Okay. Then we're going to pop this up with some dimensionals. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll get rid of our backings and then pop that on right about there. And then that is going to get layered on a piece of Lost Lagoon. Now, I don't know if I gave the dimensions for this piece. This piece is 4 by 5 1/4. So my Lost Lagoon is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to give us a nice little mat in behind. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive to the back and pop it on. Hopefully straight. There we go. And then that is going to go on a Pebbled Path card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll just fold that in half along our score line. Hi, Susan from Pickering. How are you? All right, let's pop these on. Whoops. See, going too fast, pulling up my cardstock. This is what happens when I get carried away. All right, there we go. And then the last touch is to add some copper snowflakes. I really love the little pop of copper on this card. It's kind of unexpected, but it goes so nicely with the Lost Lagoon. It's just such a great combo. So we're just going to add a few little snowflakes here. One of each size. We'll tuck one here somewhere. There we go. All right, so there is card number 1 done. Let me clean up some of my mess here. Now I'll just quick show you on the inside. I stamped my branches again a few times, full strength and stamped off, and then added another sentiment. All right, so really not too difficult. Card done. All the work is the coloring of that beautiful horse and sleigh image. All right, let me clean up my mess, and we are going to move on to card number 2. All right, I think we're good. Okay, so the next one is a super simple fun fold. It's called a double Z fold. I'm sure many of you have made these before. But again, it allows you to really utilize that scenic designer series paper. So I am all about using those beautiful scenes as the backgrounds on my holiday cards. So this is, again, really, really simple to do, but I'm going to show you how to do it for those who maybe haven't done it or it's been a while. So we're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of gray granite cardstock. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 2 3/4 and 5.5. Okay, so 5.5 is our regular score line for a card base. There's one extra score line at 2 3/4. Okay, so we're going to fold this like a Z. So I'm going to start by folding at that 5.5 inch score line, just like I would a regular card base. And then that 2 3/4 inch score line, I'm going to fold back. So as you're doing this, you just want to make sure your edges are straight and everything's nice and square. Sometimes when we're scoring and measuring, sometimes our eye gets off a little bit. Okay, so you can see that that makes a Z or a Z if you are watching from the US. All right, so that is the foundation. All right, so on that foundation, we are going to add some of our beautiful designer paper and a background piece. Now, you certainly could, if you wanted to use more than one sheet of this paper, you could fill in this entire background with another piece of this DSP. But basically what I did is I took my DSP that's 6 by 6, I cut it at 4 inches, and then this piece is 2 5/8, and this is the rest. So what is that? It's going to be 3 3/8. All right. But if you wanted to use a second piece, you certainly could put an entire piece of this DSP on there. Okay. I didn't want to use an extra piece. So instead, I cut myself a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of basic white cardstock. Let me just double check to make sure that that's the right measurement. No, it's not. Just realized I didn't cut that right. Let's do that again. We're going to fix that up. So this needs to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to eyeball this because this is 5 1/2. And my little trimmer here is not quite wide enough to get me 5 3/8. A little smidge more. There we go. All right. So what I did is I actually embossed this using the wintry embossing folder. So what I'm going to do is actually layer this just like that and then add my DSP. We're going to cheat. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and so what you want ideally is this piece to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 and then emboss it. But because I don't want you to have to sit and watch me emboss, we are just going to go ahead and layer this on our larger piece. Okay, and then that DSP is going to be the right size for the background piece. You see why I had to do that? All right, so let's go ahead and glue that on. And layer that on there. Okay, so again, 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, and then 4 1/8 by 3 3/8. So that is going to get glued onto our back panel. So we'll go ahead and add that now. Yes, it is certainly hard to cut up this paper, Jean. That's why I like to use the whole as much as possible. And I don't feel bad. If I'm getting all of those beautiful patterns onto my card, then I don't feel so bad. All right, so that's our background panel. The smaller panel is going to go on the front. So we're going to go ahead and glue that one on. There we go. Okay, so that is going to create our scene for our horse and sleigh. All right, now to create this foundation part, the snowbank that the horse is riding through, this is a piece of basic white cardstock. It is 1 1/4 by 11, okay? And again, I scored at 2 3/4 by 5 1/2. So the measurements, scoring measurements are the same. Doesn't matter which piece you're doing, the large piece or the small piece, okay? So again, I'm gonna fold in half. So that's my 5 1/2 inch score line. Okay, and then I'm going to fold back. Now I need to think about this. Yes, I'm going to fold back on my 2 3/4 inch score line. So what's going to happen is these two pieces are going to layer. Okay, and that's how you get your double Z. Now, before we do that, we're actually going to take and trim along this top edge, just with our snips. We're going to create sort of a curved, sort of snowdrift kind of look. So I'm not cutting off a lot. I'm just trimming and shaping the edge of this with my paper snips to kind of create the look of a snowdrift. Because the last time I checked, snow does not drift in a perfectly straight line. All right, it's been a while, you know, it's been a couple months since we've had snow, but I'm pretty sure that it still does not. All right, so that is going to glue on the front of our card. So here is the thing. To make sure we put glue in the right spot, I have my long piece at the front, okay? So what I'm going to do is flip this over. I'm going to put glue on only the parts that I can see. So I'm going to put glue here, I'm going to put glue here, okay? Then I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to stick it down. So I'm going to line up my bottom edge, my left and right ends. Come on, line up nice and straight. Okay, and by doing it that way, it makes sure that you only get glue where you're supposed to put it. Okay, because it is not hard to put glue in the wrong spot. All right, so now we are going to add some, again, die cut trees to our smaller back panel here, to this little section. Again, because we want some perspective, right? We want to add a little bit of interest. So these trees are in the distance. So again, these are actually cut from some scrap of that wood grain patterned DSP that is in this pack. So we're gonna go ahead and just layer our trees. And the cool thing about the wood grain pattern is that there are variations in color. So you can see this one's a little bit lighter, this one's a little bit darker. And so you get some really interesting die cuts just from the same sheet, depending where you cut it. Okay. All right. So now we are going to add, again, some snowdrifts. So we're going to put a larger drift sort of up higher for it to cover the bases of our trees. So we'll just add a little bit of glue here and pop that on right about a little bit higher, right about there. And then our smaller one is going to go on over just a bit, just offset a little bit. Come on, glue. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to trim off that excess overhang. Oh, there's a little bit of overhang of the Z panel too, so we'll trim that off too, get it all nice and tidy. There we go. All right, now for our horse and sleigh. So we're going to go ahead and glue our horse and sleigh on with some dimensionals. Okay, so we're going to pop it up. So again, I'm just going to lay this where it's going to go approximately. And that again is just to help me get an idea of where I can put my dimensionals. Because obviously the part that extends off the top of our little snowbank here can't have, whoops, I just peeled the backing off my dimensional. Can't have any dimensionals on it because we're going to end up sticking our card shut. So let's just check that. That looks good. I'm going to add a couple more to the hooves of the horse. Again, just to make sure this stays put. There we go. So we'll get rid of our backings. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, I am notorious for putting glue in places where, well, you've all watched me do it. Live video, putting glue in places where I shouldn't. So I have come up with some really great ways to keep from doing that, to try to avoid messing things up. So when I check, you can see, you probably can't, but I don't have any dimensionals where they shouldn't be. Okay, so my card is going to open like it should. All right, so then we have a couple more snow drifts, and we're going to add these in front of the sleigh. And again, that's just to kind of show that the horse is going through the snow. So this one, maybe I want the horse going. No, I want the sleigh here. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and add a little bit of seal because this is going to adhere mostly to the sleigh. I'm going to add a couple of little mini dimensionals in between the openings here on the sleigh. And I'll put one here by the horse's hoof. And then we're going to stick this on right along the bottom of our Z there. Okay, and then this one is going to come right across there. Again, we're going to add a couple of mini dimensionals. So I'm going to put one here and another one over here. And I think we can get one more right down at the bottom here. All right, let's get rid of our backings. And again, we'll pop this on right along there. Okay, and then you have this fun snowy scene for our horse and sleigh to be dashing through. And then the last touch is our sentiment. So let's stamp our wishing you a season of cheer. And again, we're going to use gray granite. Yes, I could have put the white under the DSP. Sorry, could I put the white piece under the DSP on the front? Do you mean this, the Z fold piece, Louise? You certainly could. I just wanted it to look like snow in the forest. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. You can maybe let me know if I'm making any sense. All right, so there we go. We've got wishing you a season of cheer. And we are going to add a double linen thread bow here. So just here's another little tip. When you take your linen thread off the spool, it's very, very twisty. And the farther down the spool you get, the twistier it gets. So it's hard to work with when it's that twisty. So just take your bone folder and run it between your thumb and your bone folder, and it gets rid of all the twistiness. Okay. That's just a little tip for straightening. Ironing your linen thread without an iron. All right, so we're going to take a double thickness of linen thread and tie our little bow here. And make our loops a little smaller. We're going to trim off our tails. And then I'm just going to take a glue dot, as soon as I figure out where I put them, they're there, and press the end of my label into a glue dot. Oh, okay, yes, you could, certainly could, Louise. You could put that underneath. There is no reason why you could not. I just wanted it to look like snowdrifts, that's all. But you certainly could. All right, now to stick this on, we are going to center the points, top and bottom points on the label with the fold on our card, okay? And that will ensure that this is perfectly centered on our card. So once again, we want to make sure we only put our dimensionals where they need to go. So again, I'm going to line up my label where it's going to go upside down. Add my dimensionals. I'm going to stick one here just to make sure my bow stays put. And then we'll get rid of our backings. And pop this on, lining up the points, and that'll make sure it's centered and straight, both of which are good things. All right, last touch is to add some gold snowflakes. So we're gonna grab a couple of these guys. I'm gonna put a couple in the background. So one, and we'll put one, I don't know, right here on the label. And then another one sort of down here. There we go. Now, I love these snowflakes. And I love them so much that I want to embellish my snowflakes. I'm actually going to use some festive pearls and add a little gold pearl to the center of my snowflakes. Yes, I know it's overkill. Sue me. I really like the look of this. Isn't that pretty with a little pearl in the middle? All right, there we go. That is our finished Z fold. Now I'll just quick show you. So you have a panel to write your sentiment. You can add a basic white panel to the back, and I had some more scrap of the DSP that I added to pretty it up. Okay, but there you go. Finished, easy, fun fold. Okay. All right, one more. Also a fun fold. I posted this one earlier today. So this is a faux step card. It's a faux because there's no fancy cutting or scoring. This is actually a really easy fun fold. Pretty much as easy as the Z fold, double Z fold. It's really quite straightforward. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. Grab my little bag of goodies here. Okay. So we need sort of 2 pieces of cardstock for this one. This again is 4 1/4 by 11. Okay. And thank you, Deb. It does deserve over the top bling. Absolutely. All right. Okay. So 4 1/4 by 11 inches. All right. Now you're scoring, you're going to score at 4 1/4 8.5 and 9 3/4. I will put all of these measurements up in the description afterwards, so you can remake this if you would like. So we're going to start by folding at our 4 1/4 inch score line to start. Okay. And then I have my next one, and if I've done this correctly, when I fold this over, they should line up at the bottom there. Okay, and then my last one, I'm folding back. So we have mountain, valley, mountain. Okay. You want to make sure those are really well burnished, okay, because your card is going to basically stand up like that. Okay. Now, we're going to decorate this panel a little bit. So again, I have some more of this gorgeous paper. So this is 4 by 4 because this background is a 4 1/4 inch square, which makes it really easy. I think I'm going to do it this way because I like my diamonds going up and down. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue here. I know I'm covering up all these beautiful winter scenes with using the wrong side of the DSP, but I love these textured patterns so much. And they really help to accentuate the scenes when you put it behind. All right, so there we go. And then this is 1 by 4. 1 by 4. And it's going to go along that little section on the front. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add that. It's easier to glue it when it's laid out flat. Now the one thing, if you fold it up, you just want to line up your edges here. Okay, to make sure that it's nice and flush and even. Okay, so there is our card base, basically done. Now for this pop-out panel, this front section, I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock that is 7 1/4 by 3. Okay, 7 1/4 by 3, and I have scored it at 5 1/2. Okay, so 7 1/4 by 3, scored at 5 1/2. So you're gonna go ahead and fold along that score line. And I'm just going to show you how this is going to go together before we actually do it. So what's going to happen is this is going to glue onto our base, and that forms our step fold. Pretty simple, right? All right, so we are going to add some pretty DSP. So I'm actually using the other half of this paper. This is the wrong piece. Where is the right piece? I don't know what I did with it. I think I got mixed up in my pile of scraps. Hang on, folks. It's here somewhere. Because I know I cut it. Because I cut this piece. There it is. See? Told you I had it. All right. I was going to say I'm using the wrong piece. This is the piece that is the right measurements. So this is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So that is going to get glued right on there like that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you could only have seen what my craft room has looked like for the last week or so as I've been prepping for these Christmas and July events, it's been a little crazy. I just spent today cleaning and organizing and vacuuming. So right now would be a really good time to come for a tour of my craft room. It's really clean right now. It won't stay that way, but it's quite pretty right now. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and glue this onto our base. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, again, we're going to line this up. Okay, so it's flush with the bottom. We're going to put glue only where it's going to overlap this panel at the bottom. So we're going to put some glue on here. Okay, now we can flip this over. And we want this to be relatively centered. Okay, so I've kind of got 2 1/2 squares at the top and 2 1/2 squares at the bottom, and I'm lining up that edge. Okay, so it looks like that. And then I'm going to flip the whole thing over. You're going to see when I fold that down where it's going to overlap. So I'm just going to put a narrow little strip of glue along this top edge here and fold that over and burnish it. Okay, so there we go. There is our card base. Now it's pretty just like that, isn't it? Like you don't really need to do much else. But I wanted to highlight some of the other stamps in this set. So we are going to add a cute little bunny and a pine tree. So here we go. I've already stamped and die cut these. They are stamped in gray granite and obviously die cut with the dies. So we're going to start by coloring our little bunny. I'm just going to use light gray granite to color my bunny. I'm not going to do a whole lot of shading here because honestly, he's not really the focal point of this card. He's sort of a supporting character here. The focal point really is that beautiful scene in the background. So I'm just going to give him a little bit of color. There we go. Done. Now for my tree, we are going to start by actually using our blending brush and adding a little bit of color to the whole tree minus the stump here. So I'm just going to use my small blending brush and we're going to come in. I'm using Lagoon. And the reason for that is I didn't want to have a lot of white from behind my stamped image. I wanted it to really kind of blend with the background of the card. This image is quite sparse. It's not a super full tree. And I didn't want to have this sort of white background behind my tree. Does that make sense? So we're just going to do a light little bit of blending there. And then I'm going to come in with my dark Lagoon Stampin' Blends. And we're just going to kind of follow the needle. So I'm not being super careful here. I'm just adding a little bit of color, and you don't have to be careful because we did that blending in the background first. So that's just a quick and easy way to add color and make our tree look a little bit fuller than it is. So I'm just kind of really being quick here. I'm not being overly careful. Just adding the darker color to sort of accentuate the needles on the branches. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my light Pebbled Path and we're going to color the trunk just to darken that down because we don't really want a Lagoon trunk. So we're going to just fill that in with the light Pebbled Path. And there we go. There's our less sparse spruce tree, pine tree, whatever. So again, this is going to get glued onto the front of our card, and because we are going to be using dimensionals, we want to make sure we put our dimensionals in the right spots. So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to put my mini dimensionals just along the side that is going to overlap my front panel here. Okay, so it's going to go on like that. So I'm going to add one mini down here on the trunk. Just fits. So we'll get rid of our backings. And we're going to pop that on right about there. Okay, and again, we don't have any dimensionals where we don't want them. All right, this is a record. I have glued 2 things today and not screwed them up. That's pretty amazing. We're going to add our little bunny. He's hopping through the snow. So we'll add a couple of dimensionals here. Isn't the bunny cute? I know, he's adorable. There we go. And then we are going to add our snowdrifts. Oh, there's Lagoon on my snowdrift. Oh well, maybe we can cover it. Yeah, we can cover most of it. No problemo. All right, so we're going to put one dimensional here. And we'll put one here. And I'm going to put one actually on the back of my snowdrift. So we're going to pop those on. Right about there. And then, yeah, we can hide most of it. There we go. We're going to pop that on right there. So I'm going to add a couple of mini dimensionals right along the bottom here. And one there. And we'll pop this on here. Just like that. There we go. There is our frosty scene. All right, now we are going to stamp our label. So this label is die cut using the Labels Aglow dies. Now those were in last year's Holiday Mini. They have carried over. They are still in the catalog. They're not part of a bundle or anything, but they are Still very pretty dies, and I love this label. So we are going to use Sending Warmth Your Way. And we're going to stamp this towards the right end. Again, I'm stamping in Gray Granite. Gray Granite is my go-to neutral with this particular paper pack. All right, now we're going to trim off the end because we don't need quite this much length. And that is going to pop in behind our tree. So we're going to add a couple of dimensionals. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to glue it flat. So we'll just go ahead and add a bit of seal there. I'm just going to pop my tree up for a minute. The benefit of using mini dimensionals is they pop off pretty easily if you need to adjust. So this is kind of going on flush with the top of that back panel there. Just like that. Okay, and then again, a couple of copper snowflakes. I feel like it really brings out the cabin. Having these copper snowflakes, it really highlights the color in the cabin. So there's 1 and 2 and 3. And there is our wintry little fun fold. Now on the inside, again, I used another little strip of the DSP, and so this is just a 4x4 inch basic white panel and a 1-inch strip of DSP. Okay. All right, so let me bring back all our projects. So there's 1 and 2, clean up my mess here a little, and 3. Now I have a few more to show you. So actually I have a lot more, but some of them I can't show you because they're reserved until after my event this weekend. But I did post these book jacket fold cards. So these are designed by Sue Campfield, who is super talented with the fun folds. So this one, again, showcases the gorgeous DSPs. So we have this one. It stands up like this. I posted these earlier, I think yesterday. And then it opens up. There is where you write your message. So a really kind of different fun fold, but very, very great way to showcase the DSP. Here's another one. Same folds, different DSP pattern. And one more. I love this night cabin. It comes to life with the way that the light in the windows glows. So again, stands up and you get the Christmas lights in the background and opens like that. So there are 3 of the book jacket folds. And then here is a really cute little Bambi card. I love Petal Pink for Christmas. I just love the softness of it. And so I had all kinds of these little 1/4-inch strips of the wood grain DSP from prepping for my event. And I didn't want to throw them out, so I did a herringbone background to accentuate my cute little Bambi there. And then one more. This is really about the DSP. It's not so much about the stamp set, but this is just a really simple gatefold. Again, highlighting the beautiful paper. Great way to accentuate those gorgeous wintry scenes. So there you go. Some ideas using the One Horse Open Sleigh Suite from the Stampin' Up online exclusives. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I will see you again. Oh, actually, no, I won't. Good thing I remembered. Next week is August 1st. And I actually have family coming to visit from Austria. So my uncle, my dad's brother, is arriving midday to Toronto from Austria. We haven't seen him since before COVID. So he is coming. I have to pick him up from the airport and drive him up to my parents. It's a 3-hour drive up to my parents and then drop him off and come back. So I will not be home in time to do my regular live next week. So I'm taking a hiatus next week, but I will be back the following week. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and I will see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.